Okay, so I thought of giving you all an update of my first 8 days after my procedure. As you saw on that first little photo, that was the little lesion. And this is what the place is where I went to. Summerhill Surgical Center. It's like a day hospital. The staff was incredibly nice. They also said if I'm looking for a job, I can look there. So this is now before this procedure. We're allowed not to have masks. Directly after the removal of the little lesion, I was showing. So I walked to it. It was a local anesthetic. They snipped it out, and now I'm back in the ward. So these are fascinating how they do it these days. They try to take out as little as possible. So now I've walked back to the ward, and I'm showing you quickly the ward. And then they came back. So this is now directly by the second procedure, and now I'm allowed to eat, and I'm quickly showing you what I'm eating here. I should have taken the tea bag out, but I have robust tea with a nice sandwich, and I had a drip because I was under anesthetic for the second one, but not the full procedure because I'm remembering talking a lot. And here's my recovery day. So the first 2 days I had this a pressure dressing on, and now I've sped this up to double the time because this took about 9 minutes to eventually take off. So they say that the pressure dressing you must keep on 24 to 48 hours, but the doctor told me 2 days. So this was the second day that I had it now on, and it was time to come off. It was already irritating. It felt like the corner of my eye was like puffed up because the sticky tape was right there and it didn't feel comfortable. But it was harder than what I thought to take it off. So I was struggling this way and that side, and William was watching. Tammy, Shania was taking the footage, so thank you, Shania, and Bia, and it was kind of quite not nice. I didn't want to look in the mirror because I think if I saw it pulling, I more went on how it felt, what was comfortable to feel. And you know the worst part sometimes of anything is pulling off the plaster because you've got hair everywhere and it feels like you're waxing all your little hairs off your face. So I was just pulling it from this angle, then that angle. So if you see people coming and going and the dogs in the background, it's just everybody was around us while this was happening, so I could just see how it looks under. By this stage, the swelling was at its utmost, but kind of by day 2, I could definitely feel more swelling than directly after. So as I was explaining just now, so the procedure, what they do now, in the past, I remember I used to assist a lot of doctors with taking out moles or suspicious looking things out of the skin, cutting it out. You always have to go 3 times as long as what you do wide. So, and you wanted to take the whole thing out, and you didn't want the patient to come back. So you would always take a lot bigger than what you should take out. And that was always the case. And then they would send it away, and it would take up to 2 weeks for you to have the result of what was taken out, and if it was all taken out. If not, you have to come back and they have to recut. Now this new procedure that they do, MOHS, they call it, is they cut as minimum amount as possible, the smallest amount that they can. Then they have it tested right there. So you get sent back to the ward. That's why you could see I was sent back to the ward with this plaster on because they just cut it out, cauterized some of the endings that was bleeding, and then they sent me back to the ward while they testing this little thing that they just cut out to make sure that they got it all. And of course, while the doctor was cutting it, that was totally under local anesthetic. So the local anesthetic was just for cutting it out. And while he was cutting it out, I said, okay, so doctor, realistically, what percentage would you now get out from the first cut? And he said 50%. And I kind of expected they're going to come back and say, okay, they have to cut some more. But when he came back within an hour, he said he managed to cut the whole thing out in the first take. So I was so thankful. So then the second doctor comes in, and that is the reconstructive surgeon, and then she has to now sew it back the best it can without then scarring or leaving a scar or looking wrong when it heals. And that's more on the plastic surgery kind of side because it's under my eye, obviously. You can see, guys, while I'm chatting to you, it was just, when a bandage gets dry and a plaster, it just sticks on everything. Oh, sorry for that noise. I just dropped my dog on the floor, but no, he didn't get hurt. He just touched something. And then at the end, it nearly pulled off the steri-strip, but I didn't want the steri-strip off. So here, my sister's daughter, she was so grossed out. You must watch her face. It's so funny. She had to hold the steri-strip down while I tried to get the top of the plaster off. So you can see a whole procedure. I was just happy to get the thing off. You can't really wet the wound or anything. Okay, so here it comes off. Eventually, we get to see how it looks under. And then from this day onwards, my eye started getting very dry. And then I realized I was actually prescribed eye drops, and I had to put that in 3 times a day. So apparently during the second procedure of the reconstruction that I was put under anesthetic, you saw that I had a drip, I obviously then, they kept my eye open for a while and it dried up my eye. So my eye has been feeling very dry. I'm supposed to take this eye drops 3 times a day. So here you can see every day I'm taking a photo for that corner scab. Bothered me a lot, and there I took it off, and now I'm alone in my bathroom, and I thought, okay, day 5, I'm taking off the steri-strip. And for the first time, guys, I'm having a look at this wound. I had no idea that right in the corner, this little scab that irritated me was actually attached to a stitch, like it felt like to me at one stage. And they've cut all the way from the corner, all the way down, and then a little bit, you'll see in the middle, it goes downwards. And that's to get a beautiful scar. They had to do it like that. And remember, right in the center there was a more like a square block that they took out. In fact, I saw the photos while I was under anesthetic. They took some photos of me, and I asked the doctor to forward it to me, but she hasn't forwarded yet, so I can't show you that. So this looks amazing. So it's now my first reaction, real-time reaction of seeing how it looks. I'm trying to get some of it clean. And now I'm supposed to put Chloromex, that's like also an eye antibacterial cream, on my wound 3 times a day for the next 7 to 10 days. And so every time you see me, it looks all shiny because I'm keeping it moist. And as I say, I'm just keeping track of all the days. That was directly after. Then day 5. You can see it's so much better already. So if you see like things there, it is the Chloromex sticking to the stitches. So I have dissolvable stitches. I mean, look how good this picture is, but I think it's the lighting and the angle. And day 8. So this was in the doctor's surgery now, seeing her for a follow-up checkup. And she just removed some stitches for me. So here I am 8 days after the procedure. I've just been to the doctor, and she has just taken some stitches out and left one in the center. So this is how well it looks from a distance. You can hardly see, it's a little bit of discoloring, and that is it, day 8.